Hi scholars, today we're going to talk about units and rates. So let's start with units. What is a unit? Well, a unit is really just a measurement of something, right? So in our world, we have, mostly three basic units. One is time, so we can measure time in seconds, minutes, hours, days, years, centuries. We can measure length in inches and feet, in meters and kilometers, in miles, and we can measure the amount of something in a few different units, right? We can talk about sort of volume, that could be like cubic feet. We could talk about area, like square feet. We could measure things in cups, like a cup of sugar, a cup of rice. We can measure gallons of gasoline, liters of soda, ounces and pounds are measurements of weight, and we can also even count dollars, right? So cost of something. Any number of something really is a measurement of an amount. And so these are all different types of units. And what a rate is a ratio of two different units. A rate is a ratio which compares the amount of two quantities measured in different units. So a ratio means it's going to be like a fraction. And let's take an example. For example, we could measure one unit could be miles, and we could talk about 50 miles, and another unit could be time, could be hours, right? So this is a rate, 50 miles in 2 hours, or per every 2 hours. Okay, we have two different quantities, miles and hours, and those are the different units, right? Now, a unit rate, which is much more commonly used, tells you how much of some quantity you have for every one unit of the other quantity, and that's the key here. So we can actually rewrite this 50 miles in 2 hours, and we want to ask ourselves, well, what would that mean? How many miles in 1 hour, right? And this is our one unit. Our units are hours. So this one and this one right here are the same ones, right? And we can reason proportionally well. That would just be 25 miles per 1 hour, which we can write as 25 miles per hour, okay? And that per hour is the per 1 hour for every one unit. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. You can read 500 words in approximately 84 seconds. How many words can you read per second? So this right here is the indication that we're talking about a unit rate, because when you hear the words per second, it's per 1 second, right? Every 1 second, every unit of a second. Okay, so let's set this up as a ratio. Let's set it up as a ratio of words per seconds. Okay, and we can do that pretty easily because we know that there is 500 words per second, or per 84 seconds, right? And so the question is saying 500 words per 84 second is equal to how many words, right, per second? That's really what the question is asking. And we could say, oh, let's cross multiply and whatever, but no, not really, right? All you have to do is divide 500 by 84, because you're going to get a number, and that number is going to be the same. It's going to be this x value, because x over 1 is just the same as just x all alone, right? You could divide something by 1, it's the same thing. So let's just do 500 divided by 84. We can pop it up real easy. We can go 500 divided by 84. And there you go, it's about 5.95. So we can conclude that you read about 5.95 words per minute. Okay, or you could have written it as a fraction, like or per second, sorry. We're talking about seconds, our units are seconds, per second. Okay. And then we go to another one. How many seconds does it take you to read one word? Now notice this question is slightly different. Here we're interested in the ratio of seconds per word, which is a kind of strange ratio, but we can still calculate with it. And so we just take our numbers and we flip them, right? We know that you're currently reading at a rate of 84 seconds per 500 words, and the question is, how many seconds would it take you to read just one word, right? And again, we don't want to just cross multiply, we can just divide through, and as we're dividing, let's think, do you think this number should be greater than 1 or less than 1? Okay, let's see. So we're going to do 84 divided by 500. And it's about 0.168. So we can say that it takes about 0.168 seconds for you to read one word, or I could write this as also seconds per word, right? So 1.68 seconds per word is the answer to this one. Let's take a look at one more question. If it takes a drone 3 seconds to fly k feet, write an expression to represent how long it would take the drone to fly 19 feet. So we see that we're talking about probably a rate of feet per second. That's usually how we measure speed or velocity. And we're being asked how long, so we're being asked to solve for the number of seconds that it would take to fly 19 feet. Okay, so we can actually solve this one just by setting up a proportion. Let's set up a proportion that is a feet per second proportion. And so this is a nice way to start all of these types of problems, is to figure out what rate you're going to be dealing with, and then you can write the appropriate math ratios, keeping the rate in mind. So we're given k feet per 3 seconds, so we can just say that's k feet per 3 seconds, right? Nothing to it. And the question is, k feet per 3 seconds is the same as how long would it take? That's what we want to find out, how many seconds. So that's really our unknown. So our unknown value right here is x, right? And so this, how long, what we're being asked for, this is our x value. Would it take to fly 19 feet? Well, all right, 19 feet, right? Feet go on the top, seconds on the bottom. And we can solve this pretty easily just by cross multiplying. So we end up getting k times x, I'll just keep that in the same color because that's what we're trying to solve for, equals 3 times 19, which is 57. We can divide both sides by k. We end up with x equals 57 over k. So we are asked to write an expression to represent how long it would take. It would take 57 over k seconds. Okay, this is our final expression, and that's that.
Awesome.